Beyonce. On September 4, 1981, in the sprawling city of Houston, Texas, a baby girl entered the world who would one day reshape the landscape of popular music. Beyoncé Giselle Knowles was born to Tina Knowles, a talented fashion designer and salon owner, and Mathew Knowles, an ambitious entertainment executive. The family lived in the Third Ward and Riverside Terrace neighborhoods, areas steeped in African-American history and culture. Her unusual first name carried deep meaning derived from her mother's maiden name, connecting her to generations of women who came before. Young Beyoncé was not alone in her journey. Her younger sister Solange would also grow up to become a celebrated musician, proving that extraordinary talent ran deep in the Knowles bloodline. From her earliest years, Beyoncé displayed an undeniable gift. At just 7 years old, she began competing in local talent shows, her powerful voice and natural stage presence setting her apart from other children. Her mother's headliner's salon became an unlikely training ground, where she would practice routines for hours while absorbing the conversations and energy of the women around her. Education came through both traditional and unconventional paths. Beyoncé attended St. Mary's Elementary School, where teachers first noticed her performing abilities. She later enrolled at Parker Elementary School for the Performing and Visual Arts, an institution that would nurture her developing talents. High school years were spent at Alif Elsik High School, though her formal education was constantly supplemented by rigorous rehearsals and performances. The foundation was being laid for something extraordinary. Houston, in the 1980s and early 1990s, was a city bubbling with musical innovation, and young Beyoncé absorbed it all. She was preparing, though she did not yet know it, to become one of the most significant artists of her generation. In 1990, when Beyoncé was just 8 years old, she joined a group of talented young girls to form Girls Tyme. This ragtag ensemble of aspiring performers would rehearse tirelessly, driven by dreams of stardom that seemed impossibly distant. Her father, Mathew, recognized the potential in these young voices and eventually took over as their manager, a decision that would shape the trajectory of his daughter's entire career. 3 years later, Girls Tyme received their first taste of national exposure. They appeared on Star Search, the popular television talent competition that had launched numerous careers. The performance was solid, but the group did not win. For many young performers, such a setback might have signaled the end of their ambitions. For Beyoncé and her bandmates, it only strengthened their resolve. The rejection became a crucible. Mathew Knowles intensified the training regimen, demanding excellence at every turn. The girls practiced choreography until their feet ached and sang scales until their voices were hoarse. Beyoncé, even as a preteen, demonstrated an unusual dedication to her craft, often pushing herself harder than anyone else in the group. Throughout the mid-1990s, the group underwent multiple transformations. Members came and went, unable to withstand the grueling pace of preparation. The name changed, the sound evolved, but the core remained intact. Beyoncé emerged as the clear leader, her voice and presence commanding attention even among equally talented peers. These years of struggle and refinement were essential. While other teenagers attended parties and worried about school dances, Beyoncé was learning the music business from the inside. She was being forged in fire, developing the resilience and perfectionism that would later define her career. The foundation was solid, and the breakthrough was approaching. Chapter 3: Destiny Calls. The year 1997 marked a turning point that would alter the course of music history. The group, now called Destiny's Child, signed a recording contract with Columbia Records. After nearly a decade of preparation and disappointment, the dream was finally materializing into something tangible. Beyonce was 16 years old, and she stood on the precipice of extraordinary success. Their self-titled debut album arrived in 1998, introducing the world to their powerful harmonies and contemporary R&B sound. But it was their second album that would transform them from promising newcomers into global superstars. Released in 1999, the writings on the wall exploded onto the charts with undeniable force. The singles, Bills, 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 and Say My Name, became inescapable, dominating radio airwaves and MTV rotations. The group's success was not without turmoil. Member changes created controversy and tabloid headlines. Former bandmates filed lawsuits and made public accusations. Through it all, Beyoncé maintained her focus, channeling any negative energy into her performances and recordings. The drama only seemed to fuel their popularity. In 2001, recognition arrived in its most prestigious form. Destiny's Child won their first Grammy Awards, validating years of sacrifice and dedication. That same year, they released the album Survivor, which debuted at #1 on the charts. The title track became an anthem of resilience, its lyrics directly addressing the criticism they had faced. Beyoncé was discovering her voice as more than just a singer. She began writing songs and participating in production decisions, learning every aspect of the creative process. The lessons she absorbed during these years with Destiny's Child would prove invaluable. She was not merely a performer following directions. She was an artist taking control of her own narrative, preparing for the next chapter of her journey. While Destiny's Child remained commercially dominant, Beyoncé was quietly preparing for her emergence as a solo artist. In 2003, she released Dangerously in Love, a debut album that announced her intentions with unmistakable clarity. The record debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart, selling an astonishing 307,000 copies in its first week. Any doubts about whether she could succeed without her bandmates were immediately silenced. The album spawned multiple hit singles that dominated the airwaves. Crazy in Love, featuring Jay-Z, became the song of the summer, its distinctive horn sample and infectious energy impossible to escape. Baby Boy, featuring Sean Paul, continued the momentum, keeping Beyoncé at the top of the charts for months. She had achieved something remarkable, becoming the first female artist to simultaneously top both the singles and albums charts in both the United States and the United Kingdom. Behind the scenes, a romance was blossoming that would shape her personal and professional life. Her collaboration with Jay-Z on Crazy in Love was not merely a musical partnership. The two had begun a relationship that they carefully shielded from public scrutiny, maintaining their privacy even as speculation mounted. Destiny's Child had not officially disbanded, and the group would release one final album together. But it was clear that Beyoncé had outgrown the group format. Her talents demanded a larger canvas, and she was rapidly developing the artistic vision to fill it. The production credits on Dangerously in Love revealed her growing involvement in the creative process. Awards continued to accumulate. 5 Grammy wins for Dangerously in Love confirmed that the critical establishment recognized her achievements. At just 22 years old, Beyoncé had established herself as one of the defining voices of her generation. Chapter 5: Standing Alone. In 2005, Destiny's Child officially disbanded after releasing their final album and embarking on a farewell tour. The World Music Awards recognized them as the best-selling female group of all time, a fitting tribute to their remarkable run. For Beyoncé, the ending was also a beginning. She was now free to pursue her solo vision without any constraints or compromises. The following year brought a creative explosion. Released in 2006 on her 25th birthday, the album B-Day showcased a more aggressive and experimental sound. Singles like Deja Vu, Irreplaceable, and Beautiful Liar demonstrated her versatility and commercial instincts. She was not content to repeat her previous success, but instead pushed herself into new territory. Her ambitions extended beyond music. That same year, she appeared in the film Dreamgirls alongside Jamie Foxx, Eddie Murphy, and Jennifer Hudson. Her portrayal of Dina Jones earned critical acclaim and proved she could command the screen as effectively as the stage. The role seemed written for her, drawing on her experiences in a girl group and her complicated relationship with her father-manager. In 2008, she starred in Cadillac Records, playing the legendary blues singer Etta James. The transformation was remarkable, demonstrating a depth of acting ability that surprised even her admirers. She inhabited the role completely, gaining weight and altering her mannerisms to capture the troubled genius of her subject. That same year brought a different kind of milestone. On April 4, 2008, Beyoncé married Sean Carter, known to the world as Jay-Z, in a private ceremony. The wedding was held in secrecy, with the couple refusing to confirm or deny rumors for years afterward. They had built a fortress around their relationship, determined to protect something precious from the invasive attention of fame. The release of I Am, Sasha Fierce in 2008, revealed a new dimension of Beyoncé's artistry. The double album concept allowed her to explore contrasting aspects of her personality, separating the vulnerable ballads from the fierce up-tempo tracks. Single Ladies became a cultural phenomenon, its minimalist black-and-white video spawning countless imitations and parodies. The song won multiple awards and cemented her status as a creative innovator. In 2010, Beyoncé made a decision that would prove as significant as any album release. She founded Parkwood Entertainment, her own management and production company. The move represented a fundamental shift in how she approached her career. Rather than relying on external managers and labels to control her destiny, she would build her own infrastructure. She would own her work and direct her own path. The lessons learned from her father's management style, both positive and negative, informed this new approach. She had watched him navigate the music industry for decades, absorbing his strategies while noting where improvements could be made. When she eventually parted ways with Mathew Knowles as her manager, she was prepared to take complete control. Her business acumen extended into multiple ventures: fashion collaborations, fragrance lines, and endorsement deals added to her growing wealth. But unlike many celebrities who simply lend their names to products, Beyoncé insisted on creative involvement in every project bearing her name. The same perfectionism that defined her music now shaped her business empire. Blue Ivy Carter was born in January 2012, and Beyoncé's life entered a new chapter. Motherhood brought perspective and a deepening of her artistic concerns. Her subsequent work would increasingly address themes of family, legacy, and the experiences of Black women in America. The personal had become political, and her platform had never been larger. Chapter 7: The Visual Revolution. On December 13, 2013, Beyoncé changed the music industry with a single decision. Without any prior announcement or promotional campaign, she released her self-titled visual album directly to iTunes. The strategy was unprecedented for an artist of her stature. Within hours, the album had broken sales records, becoming the fastest-selling release in iTunes history. The surprise drop revolutionized how albums could be released and marketed. Each of the 14 songs came accompanied by its own music video, creating an immersive artistic experience. The videos were cinematic achievements, exploring themes of desire, feminism, and personal vulnerability with striking visual imagery. Beyoncé had transformed the album from a collection of songs into a unified artistic statement. The music video, which some had declared a dying art form, was suddenly vital again. Her influence rippled throughout the industry. Other major artists attempted similar surprise releases, hoping to capture the same excitement. The global album release day shifted to Friday. Following her lead, music journalists scrambled to understand and explain how she had upended their assumptions about promotion and distribution. The Formation World Tour in 2016 demonstrated her continued dominance as a live performer. A meticulously choreographed spectacle, blending music, dance, and visual art into an unforgettable experience. Audiences came away transformed, having witnessed something closer to a religious experience than a mere concert. At the 2007 Grammy Awards ceremony, Beyoncé performed while pregnant with twins. Her appearance, styled as an African goddess figure, created an image that instantly entered the cultural lexicon. Rumi and Sakata were born in June of that year, expanding the family and adding new dimensions to her public narrative. She had become something more than a pop star. He had become an icon. The 2016 visual album, Lemonade, arrived as a seismic cultural event. Premiered on HBO as a film before becoming available for purchase, it represented the fullest expression of Beyoncé's artistic vision to date. The work confronted infidelity, racial injustice, and the particular struggles of Black womanhood with unflinching honesty. Speculation about the personal nature of the lyrics dominated conversations for months. The album drew from multiple musical traditions, incorporating country, rock, and southern hip-hop alongside her signature R&B sound. Collaborators ranged from Jack White to Kendrick Lamar, demonstrating her ability to work across genres and unite diverse artistic voices. The accompanying visuals featured poetry by Warsan Shire and imagery drawn from Black Southern culture and history. Lemonade made history by charting 12 songs simultaneously on the Billboard Hot 100, a feat unprecedented for a female album. Formation, with its explicit Black Lives Matter imagery and references to police brutality, sparked controversy and conversation. Beyoncé had evolved from entertainer to cultural commentator, using her platform to address issues that mattered to her community. In 2018, she achieved another milestone by becoming the first Black woman to headline the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival. Her performance, later released as the concert film Homecoming, was a tribute to historically Black colleges and universities. The show featured over 100 dancers and musicians, marching band formations, and a setlist spanning her entire career. It was immediately recognized as one of the greatest concert performances ever staged. The performance earned her widespread acclaim and demonstrated that she remained at the peak of her powers. She had nothing left to prove, yet she continued to push herself toward new achievements. Her artistry was inseparable from her activism, and both only grew stronger with time. Chapter 9: Renaissance and Reinvention. The 2020 album Renaissance marked yet another reinvention. Drawing heavily from house music, disco, and electronic dance traditions, the record paid tribute to Black and queer creators who had pioneered these sounds. The album debuted at number 1 and eventually won the Grammy for Best Dance and Electronic Album. At 41 years old, Beyoncé proved she could still define the cultural moment rather than merely react to it. The Renaissance World Tour that followed in 2023 became the highest-grossing tour by a female artist in history, grossing over $579 million. It shattered previous records and demonstrated her unmatched ability to fill stadiums around the world. Each show was a celebration of dance music culture, complete with elaborate staging and costume changes that left audiences breathless. Her business empire continued to expand during this period. Secret, her hair care line, launched to significant commercial success. Your Davis, a whiskey brand developed in partnership with Moet Hennessy, added to her portfolio. These ventures contributed to her achieving billionaire status, a rare accomplishment for any entertainer and particularly significant for a Black woman in America. In 2024, she released Cowboy Carter, an album that reclaimed country music as part of Black American heritage. The lead single Texas Hold'em became the first song by a Black woman to reach number 1 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. The album directly addressed the racism she had experienced after performing at the Country Music Association Awards years earlier. Vain. Once again, Beyoncé had transformed a slight into triumph. Rather than retreating from a genre that had not welcomed her, she conquered it completely. Her version of country music was authentic, innovative, and commercially dominant. She had proven once more that no barrier could contain her ambitions. At the 2025 Grammy Awards, Beyoncé finally won Album of the Year, an honor that had eluded her through 5 previous nominations. Cowboy Carter took the prize, and she also won Best Country Album, becoming the first Black artist to receive that recognition. Her total Grammy wins now stood at 35. Extending her record as the most decorated artist in Grammy history. The achievement felt less like a culmination than a continuation of her remarkable trajectory. Her legacy extends far beyond statistics and awards. University courses at Yale, Rutgers, and other institutions study her cultural impact. Scholars analyze her music videos as significant artistic texts. Young artists cite her as their primary inspiration, and her influence can be heard in countless contemporary recordings. She transformed the possibilities for Black women in entertainment and demonstrated that commercial success need not require artistic compromise. The family she has built with Jay-Z represents another dimension of her achievement. Blue Ivy has already begun appearing alongside her mother, suggesting that the next generation of Knowles Carter performers may be preparing to emerge. Rumi and Sir, still young children, grow up in a household where excellence and creativity are baseline expectations. Through Parkwood Entertainment, Beyoncé has created a model for artist independence that others now emulate. She owns her masters, controls her image, and makes decisions based solely on her artistic vision. The compromises that diminished so many talented performers of previous generations hold no power over her career. From a young girl practicing routines in a Houston salon to a billionaire artist who has reshaped multiple musical genres, Beyoncé's journey embodies the possibilities of talent combined with relentless dedication. She has broken barriers that seemed permanent and set records that may never be surpassed. Her story continues to unfold, but her place in history is already secure. She is, simply, one of the greatest entertainers the world has ever known.